Hey everyone, welcome to the Canine Culture Podcast, where we talk about everything dog. Q&As with veterinarian professionals, rescue operators, everyday topics. We cover everything dog on this podcast. So make sure you subscribe to the Canine Culture Podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you're following us on social media on both Instagram and Facebook. Thanks again for listening. Now here's that next episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the Canine Culture Podcast. This is your host, Brittany, and today we are joined by Kathy. She is with Sophie's Circle Dog Rescue, located down in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, and we are excited to have her on today. We have so much to talk about in the world of rescue and what she's been up to. So Kathy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So before we jump into the rescue, because we got a lot to talk about, let's talk about you and how you got started in the world of dog rescue.
Okay. Yes, I started in 2008, back when there was a housing crisis. Remember when the world was coming to an end? And everyone was losing their pets. And there were so many being surrendered, and it was such an epidemic. And I wanted to insert myself into the rescue community somehow and help as much as I could. And I wasn't really sure what that would look like. So I started a pet food pantry. And that's actually was my how I started with all of this. So I had the pet food pantry, and I was the only one operating in Volusia County, still operate to this day. Not at the scale I was at. I had to bring it back a bit because of the current dog crisis going on, but I started giving food to the people for their dogs and their cats in an effort to keep the animals at home, and that is really where I met a lot of people. I had a lot of support, a tremendous amount of support. Sometimes I'd be running out of food, there'd be a long line of people, and I would think, what am I going to do? And next thing you know, a pickup truck would roll in and somebody would have a whole load, So there was always support. I felt like there were so many times where I thought, this is it. I can't go on. It's just not going to happen. And something would happen, miracles all along the way. And I, like I said, I've been doing that for all these years continuously. But when you're in the animal rescue community, you are going to be asked, can you help this dog? Would you do this? Would you, could you hold this dog? Can you do anything to help? So I, by default, got into the actual rescue process. And so since that, that was a couple years into the pet food pantry. Since I started, as of today's date, I have rescued and rehomed. I have exceeded 4,500 dogs.
Wow.
Which is, I always tell people, if you took 4,500 dogs and lined them up, it would be a pretty impressive lineup of dogs. But yeah, and it happens easily. I mean, it just, you're just frantically trying to keep up with the demand. And next thing you know, it's like, oh my gosh, it's been 15 years times, X number per year. And there you are.
Mm-hmm. Something you said about people always supporting you. I think in dog rescue, animal rescue generally, you see the worst of the worst, but then you also see like the best of the best. You see people who are so kind, so willing to give, so willing to help out. And so it's such a sharp juxtaposition. And like you have to see that good to continue with all of the bad, because there's a lot of bad. And I think, you and I were talking off air about how there needs to be more exposure to the bad. It's not all just puppies and the puppy got a new home and everyone's happy and safe. And that's just not the reality that we live in, especially right now.
No.
So going to talk about that, but let's jump back to the rescue and Sophie's Circle. So how did the rescue get its name?
I was at a shelter, and I hadn't been at that shelter ever before, and I wasn't even in there for any reason other than actually I was selling dog food, and I was hoping that they would buy the dog food. That was the point of being there. And the girl who I was working with, my associate, she had told me, meet me there. And I got there, and she had already gone back with the director and was talking. So I said, I love Huskies. So I said, do you have any Huskies? To the girl that was standing there. And she said, well, just one, but she's in quarantine. And I said, why? And she said, well, they're going to euthanize her today. Now, this
Mm,
was 20 years ago almost, so things were
wow.
different. People don't talk like that. The whole verbiage has changed,
Yeah,
but,
yeah, yeah.
and it's not so loosey-goosey, but it was like, well, what? You're going to euthanize? I mean, you're going to kill a husky? What? And
Right.
I said, well, why? And she said, she's heartworm positive. And I said, oh. So I thought, oh my God, this can't happen. So she wanders off, and I'm waiting for them to let my people know that I was there. And another girl comes wandering in, and she goes, "Are you being helped?" And I said, "No, I'm not. I'm here to see the husky back in quarantine." And she's like, "Oh, okay, come on." So she takes me back, and there's Sophie. I mean, laying there with her big blue eyes and just as sweet as can be, and the most just beautiful husky, just a little stray who had so many issues. That dog had everything wrong with her, but it was okay. I left with her
Mhm.
that day. I walked out of there with her and didn't get the sale, but I got the dog.
You did even better. You came home with a bigger prize.
I
You can
sure
always
did.
make
I sure
money,
did.
so
And she just inspired me because I thought to myself, I walked out of there saying to myself, this can't be the world we're living in, where this dog would lose its life simply because of something so treatable, and I can't accept that. So for that reason, I have to do something to help. I have to. And so, anyone who does anything like what I'm doing. And there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. This is, there's nothing unusual about it. But what happens, I think, what the common denominator is there's that call to action.
hmm
And it's very personal to each person, and so when you
Yeah,
have your call to action, there's no turning back and there's nobody going
right.
to stop you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a head first. You dive in, you figure it out later and
That's
figure it
right.
out as you go.
That's right. That's right.
So you love huskies and
Yes.
you rescue huskies, but you have expanded and you do every breed.
Every breed.
So
Hmm.
small dog, big dogs, puppies, seniors, you've seen it all come through your door.
I have. I've seen everything. Yes.
How many dogs do you have currently with the rescue up for adoption?
Oh, off the top of my head, just 55.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you guys foster based or do you
Yes.
keep some? Okay, okay.
Yes.
And so you have over 50 fosters supporting you right now?
I do. I do. So it's a lot
Wow.
of people managing. It's a lot
Yeah.
of talking to people, asking, what do you need? Are you okay? Reassuring them, we'll get that dog adopted, I promise you. A lot of them saying, why isn't this dog adopted?
Yeah.
Adoptions are very slow right now, I think, just because of the time of year. It's hot. People are going on vacation. I've got I've got probably 6 dogs that are pending right now till the people get back from their vacations, which is hard. They go meet the dog, and I'm like all excited. Okay, that frees up a foster. See, in my
hmm
world, it's not, I just got this dog adopted. It's in my world, I just freed up a foster, and I can get
Right.
one of these on the waiting list in. And then they say, "Oh, we're going away, and I don't really want to do that to the dog, and we'll be home on the 27th. Is that okay?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." I mean,
Right. Yeah, you're
so
like, it
then
has to be okay.
it has to be, and then you tell the foster, who you've already said, okay, that everyone's happy and excited, and it's like, but
Yeah.
but then eventually, so at the end of this month, I've got quite, I've got at least, as of right now, 6 of them going, and then I've got 3 that are pending their neuters, and then they're all going, they're all adopted. So I've got activity, but it's not as brisk as it
hmm
is. This time of year, just things just sort of slow down.
Right. Are all
Yeah,
of the fosters located in Volusia County or are you spread out a little bit in Florida?
I'm spread out all over. I have a bunch up in your area. I have fosters in Orlando, and I've I've got I've got quite a few actually in the Orlando area,
hmm
and then I've got them down in the Titusville areas. So I've got a pretty wide reach. I had some that were further out, but I stopped using. It's hard. It's hard when somebody wants to meet them. I've got somebody coming on Saturday who wants to. She's coming from St. Augustine, and she wants to meet specifically, all of my blue-eyed huskies, female. She wants to meet. So my task is to get all of those dogs in some semblance of order, so that
Right.
she can meet them. It's hard. If
Yeah,
you're in
that
a
is really
kennel,
hard.
yeah, it's just here's this one, here's that one, but
Yeah.
here you're like,
So I'm sure you always need fosters because more
always.
fosters means pulling more dogs. So if someone wanted to be a foster, what does that process look like? And what are some of the basic requirements for your fosters?
Well, we will cover anything. And as we were talking earlier, a lot of the times the people are just very big hearted and they're like, don't worry about it. I've got this. I'll take care of whatever, the dog needs. But I will provide whatever the foster needs. But what I'm looking for is somebody to love that dog like it's their own. I want them
Hmm.
to, we have adoption or, foster applications on our website. But I don't want the dog in a crate in the garage. You know, there's nothing in it for them, so there's really no reason for them to do something like that. If they get the dog, and I've had that happen with first time fosters where they say, yeah, this isn't what I thought it was. I don't like this. And I'll
Hmm.
move the dog. It's never fun. It's not easy, and they always want you to do
Hmm.
that on a Sunday morning, but, but, we do it. I accommodate them. I'm not going to stick anyone with a dog and make them suffer. But for the most part, the people are really good. I've got my seasoned fosters. I've got people that have fostered over 100 dogs, and they just boom, boom, boom. As soon as they're done, they're like, "Okay, what do you got? Give me the next one," And
Yeah.
they'll give me well in advance notice if they're going to go away. They are very seasoned, and they know what my challenges are, and they
Hmm.
work to my challenges. They're not. They don't want to put more on my plate. They're trying their hardest to keep but again, these are people who foster all the time, who
Hmm.
almost always have one of my dogs in their home.
Yeah.
So, then I have others who, are a little less tolerant, more demanding, don't really care what my challenges are because they're worried about what their challenges are. And that's okay too. I'm grateful to anyone who is helping. I don't really have stringent requirements. If you don't have a fenced in backyard, take the dog for a walk every day.
Right.
Treat the dog like it's your own dog. That's what I'm
Hmm.
asking. And they do. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great way for people to get involved in some capacity
Yeah.
and maybe without the larger commitment. Maybe you know you're going to be moving away maybe for a job or the military or you're going to have a baby and you're not sure how that dog's going to fit in. Maybe you just foster for a year or you give yourself a duration. And so I think that's a great way for people to give back because the more fosters you have, the more dogs that you're pulling from shelters or wherever.
I always tell the fosters, without you, I can't do it.
Yeah,
I couldn't. There's nothing
right.
you can do if you have nowhere for the dog to go. And I'll tell people that all day long because I'm on the phone with the people that are surrendering their dogs. And I'm telling them it depends. They'll say, well, it depends.
Yeah.
I make no promises. If I can find a foster, I will help you. Some of them are more urgent.
Hmm. Hmm.
Every single phone call is different. You're casual. I'm sick of this dog. I want it gone. They're gonna get real low priority. They're
Yeah.
they're backburnered. It's and the people that, hey, I just lost my home. I am in my car. The dog is in the car with me. I just had that very recently. Um, People are in their car with their two dogs and their cat, and
Oh, wow.
that's the situation. And that is, my heart goes out to them. And I want to, those are the people that I really do want to help. I
Hmm.
want to, and they're the people that I don't begrudge if the dogs have had, like nobody. If you're dumping on me a dog that's going to cost me upwards of $1,000 till you get everything done that the dog needs because they have done nothing. But if the
Hmm.
people have fallen on hard times and they just don't have the money, what are you going to do? You know, but there's people of means who can afford it, who just decide they don't want the dog anymore. And they just, the Maltese that I just,
Hmm.
they spent strong money at a breeder, 18 months old, dumped the dog. They had legitimate reason. They truly did, because they were too old to get the dog in the first place. And now he's going into the hospital, and she needs to be at the hospital and can't be worrying about the dog. I get all that. But you can't even give me a donation to get your
Right.
dog vetted.
Yeah. After
But
spending all of that money with the breeder. Hmm.
yeah, the breeder made out, and the rescue gets the short end of the stick.
Hmm.
So you find a lot of this is very, very unfair, very biased in favor of the breeder, and that's hard to swallow. We're getting a lot of breeder dogs because there's too many dogs being bred. There's way too many dogs being bred, and these breeders are out of control.
Hmm.
And what's unfortunate is the tighter the economy gets, the more it's desirable for them to, oh, let's have, a litter here and sell them because, oh, hey, they're golden doodles. We can get $3,000 a dog if we have a litter of 9. Do the math.
Yeah.
And I just got a bunch of golden doodles in from a breeder that was shut down
Mm.
for unethical, negligent, cruel behavior. So here
Yeah.
are all the dogs, skinny, underweight, not a shot among them. No, everyone's intact. That
Hmm.
litter, or not litter, that little group of dogs, set me back hard. This is what people don't understand. They think, oh, look at the desirable dogs they're getting. Those desirable dogs cost a lot of money to get fixed, to get straightened out, to get everything that
Right.
they need. And that's assuming there's nothing wrong with them. That's as long as there's like no heartworm disease, there's no surprises. You are
Hmm.
still paying a phenomenal amount of money to get those dogs ready to be adopted. And here's the other flip side of that too. I am not going to put those dogs into anyone's hands until I am 100% certain that they
Hmm.
will not be able to produce any more puppies. There are enough. And so that's why when you see them on Craigslist, or you see these people on Facebook just giving away these intact purebred dogs, and you're like, oh my God.
Hmm.
So they put so much stress on the rescues, because the rescue is thinking, oh my God, this dog is going to get into the wrong hands,
Yeah.
and it's going to be used as a breeder dog, and I've got to get that dog. So you find yourself getting deeper and deeper and deeper in,
Hmm.
having more and more dogs that you really don't need. Then what happens is then you'll get a foster who's been sitting on a dog for a while say, well, why do you keep on taking dogs? Why don't you just slow your roll and focus
Yeah.
on, and you're like, but you don't understand.
Right.
I
Yes, it's
had to
such
get
a
this dog.
vicious cycle. It's like you can't just wait and not get a dog. You need to get it, but you didn't adopt this one. So it's cyclical, and people don't get that, and they don't
They
get
don't.
the expenses behind it. I mean, I hear all the time people are like, "Why would I pay that rescue $300?" And I'm like,
Oh, I know.
"Wait, what do you mean? They fixed the dog, they got the dog its shots, they've been feeding and housing, and it's a laundry list of the thousands of dollars they spent. That $300 barely covers that one dog.
Barely. Barely.
Barely."
It's,
Yeah.
there was a time almost 20 years ago when the adoption fee, pretty much it offset it pretty nicely. Now it's a joke. You're not even in the ballpark of what it's costing for these dogs. Those two huskies that were living in the car,
Hmm.
um, that was an emergency, so I had to get them into a vet that boards. So now I'm paying boarding fees, and then
Yeah.
got them all there, got them spay and neutered, got them, till everything was done. Till it was all said and done, each dog was $1,100, and and
Yeah.
change. So $2,200, and now I'm going to get. So I get my adoption fee is $250. So now I'm going to get $500 to offset $2,200.
Hmm.
It's not a smart way to make to make money. But again, I'm not in this. I'm in this to help the dogs, and
Right.
and then people say, well, what do you do? Fundraisers. What else can you
Fundraisers.
do?
Yeah.
Fundraisers. Do you think I want to be out there when it's mad hot, and dealing with all that? You have no choice.
Yeah.
You have to do this.
Yeah.
It's survival of the fittest. And if you're not going to get out, if you say I don't feel like doing that, well, then you're not going to bring in any money. You're not going to get exposure. You're not going to make people aware of that you exist, and maybe
Hmm.
get some of your dogs adopted at the event.
Yeah. How many owner surrenders are you seeing, whether that be a month? Let me change the question. How many calls or emails are you getting? And then how many dogs are you taking in from owner surrenders? And that could be monthly, weekly, whatever number comes to your mind.
I average 25 calls a day. I
Oh, wow.
average probably that many emails a day. I get constant Facebook Messenger, hey, can you help this dog? Can you help, this, my friend needs to get rid of her dog, that type of thing. The ones that come in on Messenger are typically, it's somebody who knows somebody who's connected that, oh, I know her, don't worry, I'll ask her.
Right.
The other ones that are the more total stranger. I got your name from, that type of thing, and the emails are the same. I have a specific email account for owner surrender forms. I have the owner surrender forms on my website. People mistakenly think that this is easy. All I have to do is go fill out that owner surrender form, hit send, and then sit there waiting by their phone. Why isn't she calling me? What the heck, I don't even look at it. There
Hmm.
are several hundred owner surrender forms in my email right now. It's depressing.
Wow.
It is sickening and depressing. And if I'm looking for something, if that's the only time I'll be even looking in there, if you really want your dog taken care of, you really want your dog to be to go into rescue, you better be a squeaky wheel. You better make it
Hmm.
happen. You better call me, because your chances of me, I'll go in there if like I said, I'm looking for one. Like somebody will say, "Well, I sent the surrender form," and then I go in looking. I'm like looking, and it's like, "Oh God, this box. Oh jeez. Oh my God. Oh," and it's like it's heart wrenching, and you're like, ugh. And then I try to get out of that account as quickly as I can, because it's just so dark and depressing and
Yeah.
sad. And I'm not even looking at the reasons. I don't even want to know. It's like just, and if they call me, I'll take a look and I'll see if I can help. We take our dogs back if it doesn't work out. And that's another thing, that'll, those are the blind sides, or those
Hmm.
curveballs that, you think you got everything figured out, and then, oh, I can't keep this dog, and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
And I always take my dogs back, so I'll figure it out one way or the other. But what'll happen is, with the surrender forms, people, I sent a surrender form in 2 months ago and you have not called, and it's like, oh well, fire me. I mean,
Yeah.
really, you're giving me this kind of attitude, and you want me to help you by taking your dog. Um, the biggest reason is financial hardship, or
Mm.
just the stupid one, we're moving, and
Yeah.
wherever we're going, the dog can't go. We get the ones where, well, I have 4 dogs and we're moving and I can't take the dogs, or, that kind of stuff. Or we're living in the car and there's, however many of us. The
Hmm.
pregnancy one is, I'm pregnant and can't have a dog and a kid at the same time. So,
Hmm.
okay. So you prioritize according to, because I always want to be flexible and ready for the shelters and for, these situations. Animal control. I got a call from animal control today. Um, the dog is tethered, and it's an eight
Hmm.
month old puppy, and it's tethered. They don't speak English. They're not going to improve their quality of life for this dog. They don't understand why animal control keeps coming. It's like,
Hmm.
why are you here again? What's wrong? The dog's standing there, it's fine. Um, Dogs living the most inferior quality of life. And so that dog, when animal control calls me, or the police call, or,
Hmm.
I always move those dogs go up. So that pregnant person crying that she can't multitask,
Hmm.
sorry about your luck. You're going down, 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 and you can call me 50 times a day asking me why I'm not helping you. Call somebody else. Call another rescue. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
You see what I mean? You have to,
Yeah.
it's like that constant, who, and then one of my dogs is coming back. Okay, well, now they take priority over everybody. So now they're at the
Right.
top of the list. But like you were saying with Putnam, I have one of she's a friend and volunteer, and she is very closely tied to the ladies there at Putnam, and so she'll say, "Oh, they've got a husky. Can you please, 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 please?" So we
Yeah.
just pulled one the other day because she knows that it's hard for me to say no to a husky.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll always make room for those. So if the dog's living at home, the dog's safe in its home,
Mm-hmm.
and this dog is at a shelter or in a car or stray. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of
Mm-hmm.
strays right now. That's another
Yeah.
situation. That dog is always going to take priority over the dog that's in a home. And if it's your dog and you want this dog gone for whatever your reasons are, you know what? Make it work out. Make it work.
Yeah.
And I'll get to you when I can. And if I can't get to you on your time schedule and you're going to get annoyed with me, move on.
Yeah.
I'm not. There's nothing in this for me. There's no dog out there that has any value to me as far as, oh, that's a desirable dog, or that every
Right.
single dog, it's a flat ball field. I mean, everyone is the same to me. So you can't entice me by saying, but it's a purebred. What? I don't care.
Yeah. It doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter.
The one that I hear that I think makes me the most angry is I work a lot. I don't have time. And it's like, believe me, your dog would rather be in your living room sleeping on the couch 9 hours a day than sitting in an overcrowded shelter because every shelter is at 200, 300, 400% capacity. Believe me, they would rather be at home or let outside twice a day, fed once a day versus possibly being euthanized. And I don't think
Yes.
people understand that if that's your situation, I mean, think about why you got the dog in the first place. No one ever made you get a dog. You
No.
made that choice.
No. And that is such a lame thing. And that is so common too. And it's like,
Hmm.
are you kidding me right now? You can't. First of all, dogs are basically like cats. They're happy to sleep
Right.
90% of the day. I mean,
Yes.
my dogs, they'll sleep. If I want to do something, say, come on, let's go. They're up and ready. They're like, okay, let's go. But
Hmm.
left to their own devices, they're happy sleeping. I mean, they're
Yeah.
they're lazy. And so that's stupid. And then you're going to subject them to a shelter where there's frantic barking, they're going to be terrified, and then the possibility of being euthanized. Then they'll say, well, I don't want my dog euthanized. It's such a sweet dog, it doesn't deserve that. Well, then why are we even having this conversation? What is
Yeah.
happening in that you can't feed your dog twice a day and let it out when it needs to go out?
Yeah. It's simple.
It
And
is simple. It's extremely
hmm
simple, and it's unfair, and they don't understand. Then I give them the little education, and then the other one and I just spoke to somebody today about this. They have an aggressive dog. And
mm,
do you deal with aggressive dogs? You know what? Nope, I don't. I used to back in the day when we all had the luxury of more income, more money coming in, more donations, and you could take that aggressive dog, you could put him with the trainer, you could hope for the best, you could, no, they are a
hmm
liability, and I am not risking my insurance and
right.
and losing the rescue because of an aggressive dog. And it's like, send that dog to heaven, be with it, be with it. I mean, that's because, well, what if I do this? No, because this dog is going to be put down, and it's not going to be in a way that's kind to the dog.
Yeah.
You are in control of the situation. It's your
Hmm.
dog. You can go to your vet and say you need the dog euthanized for behavior issues. Be with the dog
Hmm.
and at least honor it and respect this dog by doing that for it, and spend the money, but don't, oh, well, I'm going to just dump it at the shelter and let them deal with this aggressive dog. That dog's going to get marched right back. It
Yeah.
doesn't have a snowball's chance. I mean, it's not going to live past that day. They will not be out of the parking lot before that dog
Right.
is gone.
Yeah.
What, so I try to tell people, I've really taken the fancy, sugarcoating. I've left that by the wayside because people need to know
Yeah.
the truth. They need to know the truth, and they need people to straight talk them and tell them this is the outcome. And if you're going to do that to your dog, that's pretty crummy, because your
Yeah.
dog does not deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. So what are some of your biggest needs at the rescue right now? Or how are some ways that people could help you?
fostering. We've got a good network, as far as, with transporters. People can always jump in. We're always looking for people. We have Facebook pages set up for everything so that it flows fairly smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
But you're always trying to get a dog from point A to point B
Mm-hmm.
and back to point A, after
Yeah.
the vet or, whatever. Money.
Yeah.
There's a huge need for money. There's supplies. We have a Amazon wish list.
Okay.
We have a raffle going right now. Somebody donated to us a gorgeous Rolex watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. I mean, I walked out of that jewelry shop with that watch going, look at this thing. It's like, whoa. And, so we're selling raffle tickets for it. Excellent way to help the rescue and take a chance on winning a $6,000 watch with a $10 contribution,
Yeah.
because your chances are, you've got a 1 in 1,000 chance of winning. We're only selling
Right.
1,000 tickets for it so that we keep it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that, or any of the other, we have fundraisers, attend the fundraisers. There's ways to help.
Mm-hmm.
And we need help. Every rescue needs
Right.
help. Every shelter needs help.
Yeah. The Amazon wish list is easy. It's one click, if it's one
Yeah.
one item whenever you're doing your, everyday shopping on there, because everyone is guilty of getting on Amazon, buying things. So, one quick little thing of pea pads, dog treats, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for all of that stuff, is that all on your website?
Yes, and it's all there. And I was just, in fact, telling one of the volunteers today. I said, we need to put out an appeal for leashes, because I yesterday ended up giving one of my dog's leashes for an incoming dog. I was like, we're out of leashes. I was, oh wow,
Yeah.
how'd that happen? So yeah. So I mean, that's why I say there's so many things that help us. I mean, that just leashes, collars, it's all on the wish list. Everything that we need. There's toys on there. There's chew toys. There's we get the puppies, and there's Kong toys on there.
Mm-hmm.
Laundry detergent, everything.
What's your website, and where can people find you on social media?
It's www.sophiecircle.com or org rather, and on Facebook we're Sophie Circle Dog Rescue, and we're on our dogs are on Pet Finder, they're on Rescue Me, they're on all the platforms, and we keep it as updated. I have a social media volunteer who works hard to keep it updated. I'm always like, no, that one's adopted. Get this one up.
Right. Yeah. I did a little bit of some pet finder work for a few organizations, and keeping up to date on that is almost a full-time job in and of
Yes.
itself.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
The Pet Finder is hard.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Kathy, thank you so much for being on. I hope all of the listeners go check out Sophie's Circle Dog Rescue, and thank you for all the hard work you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Canine Culture Podcast. Please make sure you subscribe to the Canine Culture Podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you're following us on social media. If you have any recommendations, any topics that you'd like to hear, if you know of any guests that would be good for the show, or if you yourself want to be a guest, please reach out to us. Send us an email at canineculturepodcast@gmail.com, or send us a direct message on social media. Thank you for listening, and please share this with any of your dog-loving friends.